Welcome to the AZ Wildcats podcast, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's number one sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe button, and they'll get you all started. All right. When I think of Arizona athletics, when I think of the city of Dallas, I'll be honest with you, there's nobody that I think that's more synonymous with that, and that's the captain, Mr. Kelvin Eafon. How you doing there, my man?
Man, I'm pretty good. How you doing today there, Big Mike? How you doing?
Not too bad. Are you rocking a JT jersey right there?
Oh, yeah. You know, I got my boy Jedd. He brought that championship to the town.
Right.
So I got that Trey 1 on there, but, you know, it's about that detail for sure.
It's funny. AJ was on the other day, and he was talking a little bit. I asked him about, you and I said, who's JT with? And he said, it was either me or Kelvin. And it was awesome. So just to hear that. All right, Kelvin, we got a lot to get to. We're going to talk a little Kelvin Eafon, but first I wanted to kind of get your take on what's going on in Arizona basketball, football, and a little women's basketball. First and foremost, Arizona's ranked number 3 in the nation right now. Nobody follows college basketball better than you or more than you, and for good reason. You put Lester Medford in a very good spot at Baylor and defending champion. So you watch everything. You know how to navigate the scene. Mm-hmm. When you watch Arizona right now and you watch the rest of the nation, who out there does Kelvin Eafon worry about or say, you know what, they might have us right now? Is there that team?
You know what? It's a toss-up. It's about, to me, any team in the top 25 could end up winning it. It's one of those type of years. I mean, you got so many different transfers that have transferred to these schools, but Arizona, there's no team that scared me. There's no scheme because Arizona has all the ingredients, and as they get more conference games and get to have that Pac-12 tournament and learn to be tournament tested, I think they're going to be one of the teams that can win it all.
When you watch this team right now, and you got to play for Coach Olson. By the way, you know a little something about the guy that's in the middle of that cabinet right there, Damon Stoudemire. When you watch this team right here, I never saw anything like this with Miller, where I could go to the bathroom or I could go to get a soda, and it goes from 3 points to 20 points in about a 3-minute time period. It's very reminiscent of when you were playing there for the Wildcats. How does that brand of basketball work, and how are they able to push the ball in the way that they are to be so effective?
Well, first and foremost, you have to get the basketball. So I think the effort that all those guys are making, Coach Lloyd always talks about it, the effort. And I think those guys' defensive tenacity and effort that they make on the defensive end, that team defense that they're playing, everybody sacrifices for each other, with Coloco in the back, with Ballo in the back, protecting the rim, Tabellas in the back, protecting the rim, and even Ben Mathurin can protect the rim. So when you have all those guys protecting the rim, plus the perimeter defense that those guys have, the perimeter guys can be aggressive in the passing lanes, and things end up happening. It reminds you a lot of back in the day watching Coach Olson, because, hey, if you got to steal, it was up to you what you did with it. You could go score it, or right, you could drop a dime or pull the ball out. So there's a lot of options when you steal the ball to affect the game.
You know what I love, too, is when they get a rebound, there's an outlet pass and then there's a secondary pass, and you're literally right at the rim. It's none of this, let's find the point guard and then he runs the ball up the court. Kelvin, they move the ball so quickly and they advance it that it stresses a defense like no other, especially if you don't have the kind of talent when you've got a Ben Mathurin coming at you. And, oh, by the way, we're not even in defensive position yet.
Well, you know what? What I love about that is you have all 5 guys rebounding, and that's what's happening. All 5 guys are going for the rebound, and then once they get the rebound, everybody's breaking out, because they understand that if I get the ball up to you, that hockey assist, that next pass goes to the next guy for the score, whether it's to Bellis or Coloco running the floor, or it can be into Terry's hand or into Ben Mathurin's hand. So these guys are being totally unselfish, but I think the key to it is rebounding the basketball, and whoever rebounds it has that initial dribble, has that initial pass up. So everybody is rebounding. Kerr is a pretty good rebound on the defensive end as well. So to me, it's all those guys again. It starts on that defensive end, securing that rebound so you can throw that pass up.
Are you surprised by how good Ben Mathurin is? Not that he's achieved this, but how good he's become so quickly. By the way, Kelvin, we're already getting comments on your swag right now. That's a sweet hat, Kelvin. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Already.
Are you surprised by how quickly, though, like the improvement he's made, that jump from his freshman to his sophomore year, or did you see this one coming?
Yeah, when he stayed around, when he stuck around, and he could have went to the NBA, would have been a late pick or a second round pick, early second round pick. When he stuck around, I already knew then that there would be a jump. And then when he got Coach Lloyd in here, some of the assistant coaches from the NBA, guys that were just development guys in with the Suns, I was like, it was going to translate. He's a hungry guy. I know he really wants to get to the NBA. And, watching him play is just, you can tell again that he's soaking it all up. Coach Lloyd asked him to hit the boards, show effort in other places, rebounding, steals, offensive rebounding. And he did it in spades. And you see his game. He don't just have to score 20 points to be effective now. He can lock you down defensively or hit the boards.
When I look at this team, and I'm going to go a little, and feel free to slap me around if I'm wrong here, because I might be wrong. I look at this team, Kelvin, and Ben Mathurin to me is the best NBA prospect. But after that, I think Dalen Terry's the next best NBA prospect, because a lot of people are saying Koloko. And again, this isn't, because Koloko's been fantastic. He's improved by leaps and bounds, but we're in a different era now. And when you don't have offensive moves really like he does, whereas a guy like Dalen Terry, he's a jack of all trades. He's 6'8". He can guard 3 different positions. You've seen him up close for a long time, longer than most. So you know that he can handle. You know that he can be that secondary passer. I see this kid after a year or two. I see him being in the league for 10 years.
I agree. I think that he has a lot of that mellow ball.
Yeah.
Not the scoring ability, because he hasn't been asked to do that. So you haven't seen that. I don't think that's going to be his angle. But a guy that's just able to affect the game with defensive deflections, steals. He can cover 1 through 4, 1 through 3 in the NBA, 1 through 4 with the small ball that they're doing now. And then offensively, he's a point guard offensively. I mean, he's a guy that's high assist to turnover ratios, second, third best in the nation, fourth or whatnot. I see a lot of intangibles. He's only going to get stronger. He plays with, high intelligence. I just feel like that he has a lot of intangibles. I think Koloko is a guy, pick and roll is going to really help him out a lot, the way that they're playing a lot of the fives, his ability to switch out on different guys. I would like to see him step out a little bit more on those now. Seems like they're hanging back into the lane. I would love to see Koloko show like he did a lot last year. Play outside of that three-point line and switch on some of these guys to show you have that ability. But right now, Terry probably has the second most upside as far as professional career right now.
All right, so let's go around the conference right now. You got UCLA, you got USC, and the Oregon Ducks. Am I crazy to think that right now that Oregon athletically looks like the team that I think matches up best with Arizona? I think that UCLA is going to have honestly, Rock, I think UCLA is going to have a major problem with Arizona, because Arizona's bigger and UCLA's got dogs. We always talk about that, but they don't have the kind of height that Arizona can come with. Oregon's at least got that and some athleticism on the perimeter. Who do you look as that biggest threat right now to the Wildcats?
I really look at it as Oregon, because they're on the upward swing. Second, it takes a while sometimes when you got those recruits coming in. It takes a second sometimes of those senior, 5th year, 6th year guys. Sometimes it takes a little while for those guys to gel, because they have their games. The coaches are not going to teach them a lot. It's about making that team gel and come together. So a lot of times you see the best of Oregon in the second half of the season, going down to the last fourth of the season. So I expect Oregon to be a bigger problem. They have a bunch of big time Division I guys that have experience. But UCLA and Coach Cronin, they just had that experience of being a championship team. I mean, a team that went to the championship. So they still going to be a team to reckon with. But I think when they get down to the end, I think it's going to be Arizona and Oregon. Watch out for Stanford, too. They lost a big game the other night, but I like Stanford a lot.
Do they have somebody on that
play fundamental basketball?
Do they have somebody on that team from maybe your neck of the woods?
Yeah, no, man. That kid is playing great over there, man. Harrison, I mean, again, I saw him play in high school. He was a kid that did a lot. with the talent that he had. He wasn't at the biggest, most talented schools in Dallas, but he was able to make his team one of the big, one of the more talent, one of the more competitive teams in Dallas. So, I with Ingram, I knew once he got to Stanford, that style of play would be good for him. I mean, imagine having a 6'6" bully point guard.
Right. No joke. You ain't kidding. All right. Kelvin's actually in the because I hear Kelvin's reads now. I got to do a quick read on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, code word PHNX. All right. Here's the deal. You throw down $5 on a game this weekend. You get that team wins. You get $280 in free plays. Kelvin, you're smart. Who do you look at all these games this week? Do you got a winner that you're thinking of off the top of your head?
Oh man, right now I'm thinking about football. I do my pick on Thursdays.
Yeah, who do you got? Give us a sneak preview.
Football. Me and my son was talking, and he said, you know what? I think the 49ers got by Dallas, but my son KJ said there's no way they're getting by Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers.
All right, there you go, KJ. I'm going to take it, KJ. And by the way, if anybody hasn't seen KJ, this is the most muscular. How old's KJ now?
KJ is 8 now. 8.
All right. I don't want to put any pressure on KJ, but KJ is the most muscular, put together 8-year-old I've ever seen in my entire life. It's absolutely amazing. So, all right, check that out. DraftKings Sportsbook app, code word PHNX, 21 and up, Arizona only. Got a gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. They'll get you all taken care of. All right, Kelvin, let's move over to the women's side of the equation. And then I wanted to talk a little football, and then I wanted to talk some Kelvin Eafon. This Arizona women's basketball team with Adia Barnes, I was wrong. I kind of wondered if this was a situation where it was a good program, but, you lose that player in Ari McDonald. Mm-hmm. Man, this is a program now. This ain't just a team where you've got just one player, and Adia Barnes has shown that. I know they just came off the tough loss, but she's got a top 10 program going right here, Kelvin.
Oh, yeah, she got a top 10 program. I mean, Adia got this program, going to another level. It's like she picked up where she left off at when she left. Mm-hmm. She left it as a program that was going to NCAA tournaments, won an NIT championship when she was here as a player, and then she worked her way up with this thing. She did an NIT championship, got to the tournament, made a run. And again, people thought it was all about McDonald, but at the end of the day, she's showing that, she's a good coach that knows how to develop players and understand how to continue on that, upper spiral to get to the next level.
Did you see, because you were on campus, I think, with her for all 4 years, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Or all 4 years.
Yeah, all 4 years. Did you see her becoming a coach at some point?
Yeah, I saw it. A lot of time, when you're an athlete and when you see a player, she wasn't the highest jumping. She wasn't the fastest. Right. So you saw her playing with her intellect. You saw her playing with her head. And so you knew, a lot of times you see players like that, understand the game and play from, the shoulders up. A lot of times those coaches or those players are good, are going to become coaches for sure. So, yeah, I saw it in Adia. She was a leader from early on.
Okay, Kelvin. So now when you look at this team right now, what is their upside? Like, if everything breaks right for them, can this team get back to the Final Four? Is this maybe a transition year? What does Kelvin Eafon see?
It'd be hard with Peloton playing well. She has that experience. She played a lot of games last year where she bagged up McDonald, and she got coaches back for sure. And right. So I see her experience plus the veteran leadership of Sam. In there as well, and then just having Kate Reese and all them. It's hard for me to see them not being able to get back at least to a Final Four. At least to a Final Four.
All right. So the cool thing, and we're going to get to this in a minute, is you coach men and women. Mm-hmm. What is the biggest difference in what is the biggest difference coaching one side as opposed to the other? Is there a difference?
I don't really think there's a huge difference. I think with the men, they tend to play more with their athleticism.
Right.
And but the great players tend to be, high IQ players anyway. A lot of time with the better women, they are high IQ players. They play, a very high IQ basketball game. So, that's what I noticed.
Okay, great. All right, now let's move over to the football side. You were obviously, we call you the captain for a reason here. You were the captain of the best team in school history. I know some people say 94. For me, it's 98. It's my podcast, so I'm going with 98 right there.
Yeah, let's go.
Yep. So you've got a team that you had 18 NFL players on the team. at that point. First of all, question before we get to football: did you have any idea that you had, when you looked around that locker room, the captain? Did you say, "Man, there's 18 NFL players on this team"?
Yeah, and it was more too. It was more. We
Right.
had 18, but it was even more than that, man. Different circumstances or whatnot. Held some guys up in the next 2 or 3 years or what. But yeah, I saw it all around. Just the the athletic ability, the heart, the determination, and just having winners in the locker room.
Okay. What has Jedd Fisch been able to sell? Because right now you're looking at a program that's done a complete overhaul.
I'm gonna run 1 second to come back. Half a second.
Yeah, you're good. Go ahead, Kelvin. So we're going to talk about Jedd Fisch right here and just kind of the complete overhaul. Let me tell you what. Let me get a read in here real quick. This is about the Arizona vaccine. If you children 5 and older are now eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine. The vaccine is the best tool we have to reduce the chances of getting sick with COVID. And go ahead and visit. Let's see here. We got visit azhealth.gov. Find vaccine for a location near you. Everybody knows somebody that has had something to do with COVID. Go ahead and get that fight. And we got Kelvin Eafon back right now. All right, Kelvin. Let's talk about what is Jedd Fisch selling right now, because he's got the number 1 receiver in the nation. He's got a quarterback coming in who's no joke. He's got Rayshon Speedy Luke, no relation to Mike Luke. I know some people might.
Your kinfolk.
Yeah, a lot of people think it, but he's not. Yeah, I had to, just had to my knowledge anyways. But what's he selling there, Kelvin? Like what, how are you able to get all, what's so enticing, I guess, about Arizona right now?
Well, to me, it's 2 things as a coach that you really have to sell, when you go into a kid's house. If you're talking about, bringing in a guy that could play immediately, right? Mm-hmm. What you're selling is, one, the best thing that you can have to sell is tradition and winning, and you're sending guys to the pros. That's the number 1 thing, kind of like what Alabama has going, a lot of the SEC schools. Mm-hmm. Now, a school like Arizona, 1 in 20, whatever you want to call it, over the last years or whatever. What do you have to sell? Playing time,
right?
Playing time, Division I playing time in a prestigious conference like the Conference of Champions, the Pac-12. Right. That really matters. I mean, I think that when you're a player and you're looking on the schedule and you see opportunity to play USC, UCLA, I look at a lot of these guys, 4-star, low 5 stars, if that's such a thing, but recruited by UCLA, but maybe not their main. USC's and the Oregons, but maybe not their main targets. Right. It's an opportunity for them to come in early and play against those guys and prove those guys wrong. That, hey, I should be playing at USC, and more than that, I'm better than the guys you have. So I think that's a huge sell. And I'll tell you what, him playing all those young guys, those young receivers. We lost
the Dorian Singers, guys like that. Yeah.
He played a lot of young guys early.
Right.
Transfers. He gave Jordan McLeod, all these guys that transferred. The starting quarterback was a transfer from Washington State. Just like they got the starting quarterback, they just got this guy from Washington State that they just brought in right here as well. You get those guys with starting abilities because you see the year before that the coach is giving people opportunities. Right. And as a player, all you want is opportunity. If you give me opportunity, and I can make something happen.
Now, tell people out there a little bit, because the one thing I try to caution is now everybody's saying, well, we should win 10 or 11 games next year. What? I know. Here's the difference, and I tell this all the time, and you can speak this better than me. If John Calipari goes from whatever school and brings John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, Eric Bledsoe, yeah, they're going to compete for a Final Four immediately. Mm-hmm. Kelvin, tell how much different it is in football than it is in basketball from an 18 to a 21 to a 22-year-old. Go ahead.
Man, say, if you think when you're dealing with grown men, I mean, you're coming in there, and you're bringing young guys in, and you're basically, starting over. I mean, now he's bringing his guys now. You had some transfers last year, but now you're bringing your guys to kind of help do the rebuild. And you got to watch that because you have guys that are already there that you got to make sure you don't rub them wrong that you're going to need. So it's a rebuild, but we're continuing on to what we started last year type of thing. So I just feel like that. Yeah, man, it's going to be tough to to turn that thing around. But I think people need to make sure they understand. You better look at that schedule because that schedule is going to be tough next year.
Yeah,
If this
no
team's
joke.
win, and I'm not, and this, I don't care if it's Coach Lloyd or who the coach is. With that schedule and being a new coach here, if you can win 4 to 5 games, that's going to be pretty good.
Yeah,
Depending on how the Pac-12 shakes out in the end. But that non-conference is, man,
brutal.
That's brutal.
Right.
That's going to be a test. So I'm glad, if the freshman quarterback Noah ends up taking the job, that's great. That means he's ready.
Right.
But I'm glad that we got some veterans, Jordan McLeod and what's the kid name from Washington State?
Jaden DeLaura.
Him.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got some veteran guys to be able to start this thing because that gives you a true opportunity and a realistic chance, to win.
I tell people all the time, this next year to me, I don't really care much. I mean, you want to win games, I get that, but I care more about building that base and getting that into that year 3 and then that year 4, and then you can rock and roll because you're going to be playing a ton of freshmen this year. And I mean, what school do you know plays a ton of freshmen that wins a ton of games? Doesn't happen.
No, not at this level, not at the Pac-12 level. So now I'm gonna have North Dakota. I think they got North Dakota State. That's going to be a problem. You're going to see right there what playing redshirt seniors, going against a bunch of sophomores and freshmen look like. That's going to be tough, man.
All right. I want to get to Kelvin Eafon here in just a second, what he's up to as far as coaching and whatnot. Got one more read. DraftKings Sportsbook app, code word PHNX. You throw down $5 on an NFL game this week. If that team wins, you get $280 in free plays. Kelvin says that KJ likes the Packers this week. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, the Packers for sure.
I agree with Kelvin, and I agree with KJ on that. I would take the Packers. You got a lot of different games you could check out this week. Out of curiosity, who do you like to win the Super Bowl?
The Super Bowl right now. I can't go against Brady until he's out of it.
Right. I'm the same way, bro. Like, dude's 45 years. Dude's almost actually. Hold on. You're what? A couple years older than Brady?
A few, because he's 44, right?
Yeah, he's 44,
yeah,
right?
I'm 40. I'm 47.
Okay, yeah, there you go, dude. Both guys aging very well right there.
Yeah,
so
that, man.
I would go ahead and check out the DraftKings Sportsbook app, code word PHNX. Get down on the Packers, get down on the Bucks. All right, Kelvin, you're a lot of people don't know what you do behind the scenes here in Tucson, and I'm going to talk because I know you don't like to do it, but over at You work with a couple girls over at, a lot of kids, but a couple girls that I see every Saturday and, away from the limelight, and they're both playing incredibly good ball right now, thanks to, the tutelage of you. You want to give them a little bit of a shout out and just kind of talk about what you do right there?
Oh, yeah. Well, my girl, Madinea Vital over at Amphi High School, and also Knowledge Smith. Man, been coaching those young ladies and in the group of young ladies that came to me. I had never coached, girls. I had trained some girls, but I had never had a, club girls team, man. And they came to me in the 7th grade and said they wanted to do it. And man, we had some Castle Grand girls also. Leah Robbins, which is Randy Robbins, is his niece. And then, Juliet is another girl that plays Castle Grand, that plays on our team. But, Amphi, those girls, man, are special to me, man. they, a lot of time when people thought I was just a tough coach and, was mean. And here I go, running in here with this, 15, 16-year-old girls team, man, and so they, they stuck it out, man. I think they, I think my reputation for being a tough coach kind of people have figured it out now because these young girls they done brought out the soft side of me. But they some players though, man. I mean, Knowledge Smith probably had about 83s at this point in the season.
Right.
Madinez a triple threat problem.
We just went well over 1,000 points so far.
Well over. She's about 1,400 at this point right here. Man, assists. I mean, she's had games this year of 12 steals. And, previous years 18 steals. I mean, just a tremendous player, man. I can't wait to see where they end up at as far as going to college and whatnot, because both are definitely college basketball players.
What's unique about my guy, like I said, too, is that you can go by, and a lot of times people bring the camera and say, look, I'm going to go help somebody out. He doesn't. I'll give you an idea. I've known Kelvin for about 10 years, give or take. And I take my dog to the dog park across from where he was training. And this was about 2 years ago. And I'm looking over, I'm like, wait a second, that's Kelvin Eafon over there. Come to find out, the guy's been doing this every Saturday morning for basically eternity. And, that's the kind of dude he is. you're not going to find anybody that does more time that does more time with people and doesn't say anything about it than Kelvin. And that's incredibly commendable right there, Kelvin.
Oh man, I appreciate it, man. It ain't about, what you talk about and everything like that is what you're trying to do. I do have a business aspect to it because, I had a training company. So I love to get that out there as much.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. How can people get a hold of you, my man?
Well, you can hit me up, my
on Twitter.
Number 520-312-2679. Hit me up with a text or whatnot. I'm on Twitter as well, Facebook. So yeah, you can get at me. I'm, football training. I think people forget a lot of times that I was pretty good at football. Yeah. So, love training football players as well, but basketball players, and just helping them, man, in that mental training, skill development. You're trying to get them right so they can play at a high level in high school and beyond.
Now, just talk a little bit, too, before we let you go. And again, I'm super grateful for your time. Just talk a little bit, though, because you give back because, you came from a tough area. Just kind of give people a little bit of a, what you came up, how you became the athlete, the person that you did.
Well, I give a lot of credit to my grandfather and my grandmother. They raised me a lot. I had a young mom that, had me at a young age at, 14 years old. And, but, she, never let us quit. It was tough. We lived in a tough neighborhood, growing up, in South Dallas, during the crack era, right. Where it was, some gang violence. But, our neighborhood was beautiful at the same time because, we all looked out for each other at the end of the day. The guys, the neighborhood guys made sure guys like myself, tried to steer away from trouble and everything like that and pointed me towards sports. So, really appreciate my grandfather because he lived, in Seagoville, Sand Branch, Texas, which I ended up finding out, which is the first place slaves owned land in Dallas.
Wow.
So we had wells, we had a hog farm out there. So learned a lot of hard work, on the farm every weekend every weekend, right. And in the summers with my grandfather. So, man, learned a lot of values with that. But sports was great for me because, it gave me an opportunity to, show people who I was besides the tough exterior people see, sometimes. Right.
Kelvin's the epitome of a guy that doesn't forget where he came from. And as far as helping these girls out, again, I'm a big fan of Kelvin. He's he's done, I can't even tell you how many kids he's put into college, how many kids that, are making money that
and Mike, I like this, man. I got, Dr. Weaver, not even Dr. Jaws, Dr. Kobe Weaver, his son. And, I have doctors, lawyers. I mean, all kinds, teachers, coaches, man. It's such a blessing, man. I appreciate it because it's all the great coaches I had. Coach Tomey, Coach, I had Coach Cox, Coach Olson, back
Coach Leonard Bishop.
Oh yeah, no, that dude, Coach Hall of Fame,
right?
Hall of Fame, high school coach, man. Coach Chris Bosh. So, I feel lucky to be able to pass on a lot of the things that I learned from my grandfather and all those great men and women that I was around growing up.
Kelvin, I can't thank you enough for coming on, my man. And again, it's always a pleasure. And you know what? This is like I said, when you think Arizona athletics, when you think Tucson, you're not going to think of many people before you think of Kelvin Eafon right there. I appreciate you, my man.
Oh, man, appreciate it. Salute, man. All right, appreciate
you.
All right,
for Kelvin Eafon, I'm Mike Luke. You've been listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast.